So welcome to another card game review from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander.
You threw me for a loop. Card game.
It's a war game. You're fighting.
Sure. I would agree with that. It is a card game.
Yes.
All the components are cards with the exception of the sights.
Which are cardboard.
Yes, they're card shaped. So, okay, can we edit that? Not edit it, can we redo that? Because I do think this is a war game.
Yeah.
Because it's just like Undaunted, which I consider a war game.
Yes.
A different style of war game.
This is a war game.
I'm Grant, by the way.
In cards. I'm Alexander.
I'm Grant, by the way.
We're talking about Line of Fire, Burnt Moon from Osprey Games. This is a two-player, card-based, it's a deck builder, attacking combat war game.
Maybe they don't want us to say war game. Maybe that's their goal, right?
That doesn't mean that's not what it is. This
Well,
is a fighting combat game.
What I'm saying is, though, maybe though that when they put it together, they were trying to appeal to an audience that would say, "Ooh, a war game," but it's a war game.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
But that's sure, and that's probably definitely what they're doing,
Sure.
right? This is, if you've played Undaunted in any format, you'll be very familiar with the deck building concept of it.
Almost identical.
Yes, you'll be familiar with almost every single action in the game.
Right.
And like the deck
With the
makeups and
Yep.
all these things.
I do like that they added the personnel. They're different than the other personnel cards
like there's
in the other games.
They've added a few different
Yeah.
abilities. They've changed some different bits and pieces. You know, things like the fortifications that they added in.
No dice in combat, which
the way
is key.
that the attacks and defenses and the controls work is, it's tweaked, it's different. But like, if you've played those, not that these are a long rule book, very easy to jump in.
Yes.
Okay. And this
Well,
is.
it was funny as we were reading the rules and going over it, we were like, oh, we know how to bolster. We know how to do this.
Yes.
We know how to recon. Oh, remember to draw your card to replace that, because that's probably one of the most overlooked rules in the Undaunted series of games.
What does command do? Easy, I know. Right? Like,
Right.
so much of this is very, very familiar, but it's been kind of tweaked and streamlined and put into this very small,
Reduced.
manageable
Yeah.
package
Yeah.
that plays in no more than 30
Yeah,
minutes.
20 to 30 minutes is what this is going to get you.
And it's got this extremely cool artwork on it by
100%.
Leonard Dupont,
Yep.
a Frenchman, I presume.
Well, and
Or
I
a
think,
Canadian, I apologize.
Yes.
Either way.
I think the coolness of the art is that this gives me a definitive 1970s feel sci-fi.
Yeah, oh yeah.
This looks like,
It's so great.
and I like that. It's kind of a throwback, but it's cool and unique and interesting. And it's different than the other, because that artist is, and I'm trying to remember.
Oof, I don't know offhand.
I'm terrible.
So, what Grant's referring
Roland
to...
McDonald.
Roland McDonald. This is technically in the same universe as Undaunted Callisto 2200.
It's over there.
The artwork, I actually think, takes it, distances it from that a little bit.
100%. Yeah.
So...
Well,
it technically is, but
Yeah,
I
I mean-
don't know if I would have been able to tell.
Right. It's intended to be a different style of Undaunted game.
Yeah.
This is referred to as a lane battler. You are battling over these 5 sites. You're fighting each other for control.
And it's like numerical control,
Yeah.
and as
Advantage.
opposed to that geomorphic map board,
Right.
although it's not geomorphic in Undaunted Callisto, and it's like moving guys around tactical style. It's like line up the guys in the
Yep.
lanes, getting the numbers, getting the special abilities.
Yep.
They're still moving around. That still exists, but it's build up the numbers, control the site.
It's a little more abstracted,
Bit area control.
crunched down into a 20 to 30 minute
Yeah.
game. But once again, this is very familiar to anyone that is familiar with those games.
Like, this is the rule book.
Yeah.
This
And
is the action book, which is like half the size.
Which they do have actually really good double-sided play aids.
I know everyone complains about a 30-page rule book, but
Yeah,
this is 30 pages, but it's not.
It's pretty thick, pretty well done too.
But
frankly,
it was really fun.
yes,
There is space for these kinds of small games. We were talking about this. This is extremely portable. When you open it up, this is a really nice magnetic kind of clamshell.
yeah,
But it has these two kind
tuck
of
boxes.
tuck boxes in it, and they're sectioned. You put your fortifications over here and your cards over here, and then like slide shut, and these both fit really tightly. Like the production is really nice, and all of that packaging that isn't just like a shipping insert that you throw away. Like this is really nice packaging so that you can take it with you and it doesn't get beat up. It's going to retain its niceness. I presume, but I do not know, that these are probably big enough that you could sleeve the cards
and
as well.
I would recommend that.
Yes, any deck builder. I
you own this game, you're going to play it again and again and again. So
and it makes it travel proof.
100%.
And this is the it kind of takes up a little bit of space on a table, but you could crush it in if you were that time conscious.
How could you crush it in? You would have to reduce the size of the supply by just stacking them all up. You kind of
crunch these all up
together.
You can move them all up so the play space is just this bit, and then you kind of squeeze these in a bit. But it's
because we were talking about whether you could do this. You couldn't do it on a plane. I guess you could theoretically if you're in first class, right?
Maybe
you have a lot more room. But I think on a train.
Yeah, if you're like on a train where you got the two seats and a table in between, almost like a booth at a restaurant, like you could easily
do this at a restaurant, hotel room. You could do this. I mean, it's designed like that. I think a miniaturized version of a very interesting game that's travel portable,
and looks wonderful.
100%.
And that's just it, right? It gives you the same kind of feelings and tensions of something like an Undaunted, where like. Especially when you get to like that end game and like, I've got 6 points and you got 6 points. There's a lane with 2 points and we're both fighting over it. And it's like, and that initiative card is like, and like, do I have the 1-2 punch to get someone in and do the thing? That tension is all still there, and that's all the stuff you get in Undaunted, right? Moving you guys around, trying to control the areas, get the victory points. That is all still here in this really small, tight, and very nice package as well. And so they did a really commendable job with that, and I think they're very successful. As that's what their aims were for this, and it does that to a T.
Well, I know when I spoke to David about this at Buckeye Game Fest, their goal, him and Trevor, was to create a new experience using some of the hallmarks of that system, and I think they've done a heck of a job here. This felt familiar, but there was enough unique and interesting stuff. I very much enjoyed the addition of the fortifications, the concept of majority in a lane. I thought that was very unique. Some of the abilities on the personnel cards are very interesting. Strike, counter, blast, bolster. Well, those two are very, very unique.
Yeah, there's extra layers in here that they put in. It's interesting. I don't know if I would use the word new.
Sure.
But I would say that it's like refreshed. I think that's...
Well, I think what I meant by that is if I remember the other person, your sergeant, your lieutenants, and your commander, they kind of all did the same thing. Bolster, I think withdraw,
and you still have that,
draw
right?
cards.
Your field,
and
whatever
but
they are.
They've added these two things, which I think are a new element to the game.
Yes,
that I think really creates another level of tactical back and forth. Now that we've played and got a better feeling for that. Once you got that disposal tech in there, I'm like, well, crap, I've got to get my disposal tech. And that's going to be a game within the game, is getting the advantage of having that card in your deck, because that card can remove the opponent's disposal tech and then do their very cool strike, which is killing a card.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
Or you get the, this guy
blast,
does the blast, which is also very cool.
Is that disrupt 2 cards?
Disrupt 2 in a lane and get rid of him.
That will make a huge difference if you can follow that up with a control action. You blast those guys, all of a sudden you've got majority, bam, the game could be over.
And I think that's one of the things I really actually do like about this game. Undaunted, move my guys around, roll some dice. Kind of feels like a war game, right? It is.
Sure.
But in this one, it's this card game, you've got this card play back and forth, and you have stuff, like if you can get those to go, those are like game-winning plays.
100%.
And because it's deterministic, you don't have that element of randomness to it. And so
you're not rolling dice.
It's that extremely strategic card play, trying to build your deck, whittle it down. You want to withdraw as much as you can, so you have this extremely lean deck
at the right time, though,
to be able to get that done. And so I like that this feels, it's what keeps it short and tight, but like
Yeah.
You've got those plays, and I like that the combat isn't random. I think that's
And I
what
normally
makes this work.
I normally do not like deterministic combat, but I thought the deterministic combat in this was very well done.
Yeah.
Because it adds another level to the game that makes it a different exercise.
Yes.
When I know there's a bit of randomness and I've got to roll a 7 or higher on a d10, you're not going to hit me more often than not. Right?
Yeah,
so
like-
I feel a little...
I can be a bit more cavalier, perhaps.
100%.
And take the gamble.
This, once you see the numbers in the lanes getting against you, and it's very easy to calculate. They use symbols, it's very easy for me to calculate quickly what your attack
Yes.
value versus what my defense is. But you've got to watch that, and there is no randomness to it. The randomness is, did I draw my cards at the right time? But I like that they took out the dice mechanic. And I'm surprised that I'm saying that, but it really works with the way this is set
Yeah,
up.
it works in a 20-minute format.
Right.
That's where that works. Because if it was dice rolling,
It would be longer.
the game takes long.
It'd be a 45 to 60 minute game.
And you add what with that? I don't know if you add
Just
a whole
time,
lot, right?
Just time. I felt like the bite-sized time of this was perfect.
Yes.
Like we played it again, you can play it again. You can play this 3 times in an hour. Once you get the rules down, this is going to be a 20-minute game.
Agreed.
And I really like that because not every game can play in 20 to 30 minutes and give you the feeling that this game gives you.
Yeah, like I've played a lot of card games in my life. Most of them don't involve any form of combat.
Right.
But this one, you get this like that. You get the head-to-head part of it. It's not super mega like serious and involved because it's
Yeah.
not some long, overdrawn, really expensive,
Involved
thing where like someone's played this for 6 months and they've got all this like extra knowledge that they're just gonna like, and it's a deck. You know, they've built a big deck and they're just gonna own you with the deck they built.
Right.
It's just not that kind of game. And I think this is going to sit well in lots of people's collections who otherwise perhaps wouldn't play a game of this style.
Right.
Like you couldn't get them to play something like Undaunted. But
You
this,
will get them to
could
play
very
this.
easily
Yeah.
get them to play this.
Because it feels different. It looks different. It is approached different. And I think that's good. I made the comment to you, I'm not sure my wife would love Undaunted. I think she would enjoy this.
It's much less scary, right?
It's much less scary. I think it is quicker playing. I think I'm going to get her to try to play this with me.
I think she would enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because again, like a lot of these games, it's not anything like Race for the Galaxy particularly, but it reminded me of when we used to play that, where it's
I
like
loved Race.
you kind of, it's not really building a tableau because it's lanes, but like, and it's a
It's
lot
a
of
similar
got this
concept.
symbology on it, and
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it's got this cool sci-fi theme to it, and it's this small little card package.
Yep.
And I remember how much I like that, and then this one is that, but instead of just like a race, it's like
Yeah.
head to head, and that's like a cool.
If you don't know
difference.
Race for the Galaxy, it is one of the best tableau building card games ever made.
I mean, yeah.
I enjoy it so much because there's a depth of strategy. There's so many different ways that you can win that game. It plays quickly. It's fun. It's interesting. They've had a ton of
I
expansions.
think what I like about that game is like there's 2 ways to win it in reality.
Yeah.
But there's so many ways to go about doing
Getting
those
to
two
those
things.
two
And I
things,
think that's what's so cool about
Yeah.
it. Like it's build your tableau and get the numbers, or it's like
Yep.
deliver all that stuff.
Yep.
That's really, you're going to win one of those
Yeah,
two
do the
ways
trade and
typically.
yep.
But how you implement those, there's so much depth and variety that is
That
exciting.
is the race in that game,
Yes.
right? The race in this game is getting your deck fine-tuned to the point where it is
Yes.
a lethal, very lean, very mean combination of cards.
And it's that balance between I have to be able to like attack, but
Yep.
also I have to have defense in my deck
100%.
to be able to withstand a loss, a casualty, or
Yep.
be flexible, and that's difficult to balance.
And it was interesting because in our first play, I was trying to be more defensive because I wanted to see if that would work. I think it would work if I got the right cards, but I was learning the cards,
Yeah.
right? But I think you went more offensive. You also focused on your A's? I felt like your A's were the ones that did the
yeah,
majority
I
of
had
the
bolstered
work.
more A's up front.
And I tried to do the old, I'm going to balance it out. Sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes you've got to get one number out and just get those cards in your deck again and again. Because one of the key concepts of this system is you have A and B cards. Typically they are the same, meaning their units do the same things, but A's can't work together with B's. So you have to have them separated in the lanes.
Yeah.
And in order to activate them to do their actions, control, recon, all these other things, you've got to have a card of that in your hand.
So you can't have
and that's the trick.
4 Moss Bees out, because then you can't use them.
Right.
They're not really doing a lot for you.
You want to put 1, maybe 2 out, then you're going to have 2 cards that can activate them.
And I also think that helps with the leaders. I don't remember what they were called.
Personnel cards.
Yeah.
I think is what they're called.
Specifically, it was like the riggers, where they have the great choice of name, by the way.
Captain.
Where they had the overclock.
Yeah,
It makes that overclock ability like really, really useful and powerful in a way that I felt like in Undaunted, where there was a card that allowed you to double tap a card, and it was like, that was cool, but this one, because your cards are so limited, I don't have a counter and 5 cards. I've got 4 cards. 2 of them are out, and I've got 2 in the hand. That overclock becomes so much more vital that I'm using that more instead of some of the other things, and that's a different take.
That's a design choice to get around the concept of, I only have 4 A's and 4 B's, but with that card, I can actually turn those into maybe 8, right? Because I can use them doubly. Yeah, that was a cool, I think, addition to the system.
Rebalancing.
Yeah, it's not an addition to the system because there was the concept in the other, but I think done very well and interesting and integrated into this.
Yeah, just bring
to make it
that little
different
bit to the fore, makes those cards a little bit more valuable, a bit more interesting.
What was yours called? Rigger?
Yes.
So
I
mine
had
was
Bull and he was that guy, and I don't know what the A one is.
So mine was called, mine had names. And that's probably their names.
No, the Rigger is the title, because I got a crew chief down here as well.
Okay.
So he's B. Where's my A guy?
See, I'm not sure I had that guy that you're talking about. Anyway, I just need to familiarize myself with it.
He's kicking around somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The other one's reckoned down here. So it was these 2 guys. And you start with them on your deck. Yeah, they were neat. It was just like a little different facelift to abilities that, again, we've seen before, but that kind of fall by the wayside. And I think in a game where they made it, yours are the
ROV pilots. Because we're different, right? I'm more tech savvy. You're kind of the...
Yeah, I'm the...
I don't want to say rebels, but...
No, yeah.
Kind of the rebels.
The miners. I don't know what they're called, but...
Yeah, but...
That faction.
Mine are more militaristic, and yours are more...
You're the police.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm the good guys.
Yeah.
What I will do very quickly is show you how this plays, and it will be quick because it does not take very long to learn. And then we'll wrap up with a few final thoughts. Okay, so this looks a little chaotic, but basically we have these 2 kind of rows of objective tiles. These are cardboard, and they're dual-sided. So we have this uncontrolled side here where it has this 3 control points or victory points, and it has a defensive value of 0. If this side ends up controlling it, they're going to flip it over, and then it's all blue to note that the blue side controls it, has that little symbol on it. It gives them 3 points blue, and then the defensive value is also in blue as well. And it also gives them a couple of additional benefits here. We have one of these control icons, which gives them like points. Basically, that's like an extra guy in a Dudes from a Map game. And then this little scanner symbol, which means you don't have to take interference every time you start landing guys there again. It's good to control an area, right? You need 6 of these points to win. So we've got 3 here, we've got 3 over here. They're looking for 2 more. There's 2 here, 1 here, and 2 here. So we're trying to get control of either this lane, or this one, and then 1 more, but we're basically trying to look for those 2. But these are both controlled by the opponent, and the opponent's ones are red, so this lane is controlled by the red player. This one's worth 3 for the red, this one's worth 3 for the red. So they're looking for 2 points. We've got 2 points here, 2 points here, and 1 point here. So perhaps they could counter this one, they're going to gain 1, but take away 3. Or we're looking for 2 here. This is only worth 1, so maybe they're not defending it as badly. If I take these 2, I will win, but they'll lose 3, so they might defend this more strongly because they're 3-point bases here. So and this is random, right? This is a random setup. So this setup of the map is really important for how you go about attacking this game. But what you're going to do is you're going to shuffle your deck of cards, and you're going to draw a hand of 4 cards. If you've played Undaunted, you know what happens next. We're going to use one of our cards. We're going to use the value in the top left-hand corner to play for initiative. This is a very bad hand. We've got 2 interference. These are blank nothing cards. We're going to use 1 to go for initiative, and we're going to lose the initiative most likely. The other player is going to play a card. They're probably going to win it. Then that player is going to play all of their cards like a regular deck builder. You're going to play for the abilities down here. You're going to pick one of these to do. You're going to pick one of these to do. This one you're just going to throw away. And then it comes back to us. We're the red player. We are then going to use our cards, and then we're going to draw a new hand. That's how a turn goes. So the question is what do we do with our cards? Well, lots of different things. So if you think Undaunted, you had a little counter for your infantry, and then you had all your cards to fuel them. In this one, you have 3 or 4 cards at most for each of your different unit types. And one of those cards is one you're going to deploy, and then you're going to use the other 2 or 3 cards at most to fuel the actions on that guy in that lane. The Moss, which are your infantry, your riflemen, you have 4 of those. So if you put out a Moss A and a Moss A, which we've got down here, I've got 2 other cards to fuel these 2. Or if I only put 1 down, I've got 3 cards to fuel these 2 to keep using this guy to like hit up his abilities. Something like this tier, he's got 3 cards. So if I put 1 down, I've got 2 cards to use him. Or if I put 2 down, I've got 1 card to use on both or either of them, which is not great. And so you have to be very careful about how many guys you put down. If you put down all your guys, you won't have any cards to use to actually trigger their special abilities. So you have to be very judicious about bolstering guys, using the withdraw action, which is pulling them off, so that you can then use them as action cards rather than as units, if that makes sense. Outside of that, the actual abilities themselves, which are called out on these pretty succinct and very clear play aids, stuff you're very familiar with, right? Attacking. You attack a guy to try to knock him out. Control, to take control of that particular lane if you have the majority of these little control symbols. Demo, to remove a fortification. Fortify, to place a fortification. To move, you literally move from one space to an adjacent lane. There's some stacking. B cards cannot stack with A cards, that's the stacking. Move, oh, that was a move. Recon is the same as, I think it's the same. But basically, recon is to get rid of. If I have one of these guys with the recon, I can discard him to get this interference out of my hand. But it must be in my hand. So it's a way to clean up your hand. And then we have shock. A couple of these units have the shock ability. Down here we've got this little shock. And what that does is, in this particular lane where he sits, I'm going to use a card, proc the shock ability on him, and he's going to take one of the enemy units, and he's going to, for legal reasons, not tap him. He's going to shock him and basically deactivate him. And that basically means it's effectively as if he's not there. So he doesn't contribute any control, he doesn't have a defense value, can't use any of his abilities, he is suppressed. The opponent has to play a Moss A to untap him, and that's all that would happen. So it's a way to get the guys down. And what's going to be important is, in a heavily contested area, using things like shock to turn a guy off so that you can gain control by having the majority of these green pips. Now I have more, I had more anyway, but now I definitely have more. I can then, I shock with one guy, and then I control with another. I can do that kind of double tap of getting in a place, getting control of it, and arresting those points away so that I can kind of go for the victory. And then we have the personnel cards. There's fewer personnel cards. There's like one of each type, but they all have these different cool abilities. Blast is kind of a one-shot. You get the card, you use it, and you deactivate 2 guys in the lane, but the card that you used, which is this little guy over here, and it is his only ability. You spend all that time getting him, cycling through your deck, you use him, he goes back to your supply. So you have to re-bolster him and then reuse that if you want. But this is really strong, right? This knocks out a couple guys. Again, you're going to then try to control this to take the point and deny the enemy those 2 points. That's the whole point of doing those kinds of things. Bolster is to get cards from your supply into your discard pile so they can be cycled into your deck. Command is to draw more cards from your deck. You have like 1 card that can do that. Counter, so we have this disposal tech. He has a strike ability. Strike is literally to inflict it. You point at a guy and say, we're going to hit that guy. He takes a hit. which means he's got to discard a card matching that symbol or matching that type, either from his hand, his discard pile, or the one on the map if there aren't any left. Or there's also counter. If I play this and I counter, my opponent gets his disposal tech. It's not called there, but you get one. And they have to discard that. So you have this battle going forth between those. So that person has to rebolster that to try and get this one out of my hand, because if one person has this and the other person doesn't, that's a very strong advantage to have over someone. So that's the counter there as well. And then overclock is when I play a card, if I play Moss A, but I played overclock A, I use this Moss A twice. So I've got Mr. Moss A down here and he's tapped. If I play my overclock A guy, and I can't find him, and then I play this, the first thing I'm going to do is untap. That's one of my actions. With the overclock, I double tap the card, remember? So I untap, and then I could control, can't control, or I could attack, or I could move. You can do 2 actions off of a card, basically. Redeploy. Redeploy is basically, normally when you move, you can move to an adjacent lane. That's all you can do. Redeploy is I pick this guy up and I can put him anywhere. Very, very strong. Again, you have to adhere to the A-B stacking. You can't do that, but you can move him anywhere. And so it's like, oh, I jump over here and I try to take something away from someone, right? They've got these 3 points. Oh, I redeploy this guy over here, and then I've got overclock, so I use I use a move or a control, and I flip this over, and all of a sudden 4-point swing. Huge. And then lastly, we've got strike. Strike is literally like, we already talked about it. You take a hit, you just point at someone, take a hit, so you don't have to go through all of the combat calculations, rigmarole. And then withdraw is to remove guys. If you start taking losses, or you're just trying to thin your deck out, you pick guys back up and put them in your discard pile. So they're still going to cycle through your deck, but it cleans the guys up so that you can reuse them or move them elsewhere without having to spend time moving around very slowly. That's really all the abilities. To control an area, you have to have the majority of these green symbols compared to them. Nice and simple. To do an attack, that's the other thing that's a little bit more, not complicated, but you just have to pay attention to what we're doing. So when you play an attack, it's got 2 attack symbols. It's got a 2 or a 3+ for the Moss A. If you have the majority of these green control symbols, so I've got 1, 2, and he has 1, 2, so we do not have majority. If you have the majority, you use the big old number, nice 3. Otherwise, you have a 2. And I look at a card, and I say, this guy's got a 2 value, but there's also a 1 defense value here as well. So he's got a 3, and you have to exceed that 3. A draw is a win for the defender. And because you know that everything's deterministic, you just simply would not make that attack. You would use your card for something else. But if you can get the big numbers, maybe you've got the little tier A in support, because this guy adds 1, and now I've got 3 and he's got 2, so I have a majority. So when I play that Moss A to attack, I get the 3, which is the big number, and I add +1 for the tier because he's offensive attack support. So I've got 4, and he only has a 2, +1 is 3. I will kill him because I exceed. So he would discard a card from his hand or from his discard pile, and failing either of those, this one would go away. And now all of a sudden, this snowballs as you swing momentum like that. Now he really is behind. I'm strong-arming this area. I might fortify. I might then start moving units out because he's behind, and I can afford the time to go and reorganize and put my forces elsewhere. But broadly, that's how the game works. You're trying to get to 8 points. Not super mega complex. What we'll do is we'll wrap up here with a few final thoughts. So that was a look at how the game functions. Nice and easy, quick to learn, very slick. If you have Undaunted experience, you will step right into this. Quickly. I mean, it takes like 2 minutes to learn.
And I think that's a huge feature of the game.
But if you've never played it, it'll take 5 minutes to learn. Like, it's really not that
I think the rule book is very well laid out. There's a good index. I think there's good references to the different, like at the beginning it says, make sure you're following the recon and the blank rule, and it tells you the pages, right? 19 and 24. So there's good connection between the rule book. I thought these play aids were excellent.
If you've played Undaunted, you can put these out and immediately basically set it up and play just off of these. It
is odd a bit that they're double-sided, But I think they realized that I'm going to have to give you 4 for a 2-player game because you do want to have the 2 different face-ups so you're not flipping them back and forth.
And it's just
And it
artwork on a
works.
card. They've already got the cards being cut. They didn't want to make an extra paper component to put in instead.
Agreed. So it works. Good play aid, great rule book, very slick system, well designed, as you would expect from David and Trevor, who this is probably their 15th game together. I mean,
Something like that, yeah. They've
It's
done a lot.
insane how many games they've done.
The artwork's off the chain. I really, really,
Yep.
really like the artwork. It's very cool.
Well, it creates a very thematic immersion into what you're doing.
It's
you immediately feel connected to what is going on.
It's a little bit busy at times.
But, and we actually had a discussion about the colors.
Yeah, so the differentiation between the A's and the B's on one side, like I've got more reds and purples for my B's and more like oranges and yellows and also purple and red for the A's.
Yeah. Bit confusing, I thought.
I wish there'd been maybe a different color for like the A's and B's like on the card, so it's just a little bit quicker because how many times was it, ooh, I've got this one. Because each of the Moss B's has different artwork on it.
They do, yeah.
Which is cool, but also like, I've got a Moss A in my hand, and none of the B's look the same, so you must look at the letters, and it's like just really quick recognition. Sometimes it's easy to confuse them.
I really like that they did the different drawings because
I love they did the different drawings.
I
do not wish they hadn't. I just perhaps wish that
maybe there was a red thing around it or something.
Or if like the B's had like, if this was like a yellow color for all the B's
100%.
and all the A's were the red, just for the letter.
Look at the
rather
art
than the artwork
on there. I know he showed you the kind of the game area, but the art on these is just so good.
It's such a cool style.
Yeah.
And each of the cards is so freaking rad.
Yeah, just overall a very enjoyable experience, both gameplay wise, aesthetically. I love the way it comes together.
And we didn't really even mention like the lane tile setup is going to be random every time, and so like
it's going to change the.
No 2 games will look quite the same.
Yeah,
that's also like without being complex,
which is fascinating, really, because that's going to develop your strategy as well. You cannot give these 3s away. There are 2 of the 5 site tiles that are 3s. You give those 3s away, you're 80% there towards victory. You can win with 3 sites.
But the difference between, and we didn't have this, but if you have a 3 on a 3, that's going to be the most heavily contested area.
We had a 3 and a 2.
We had a 3 and a 1, and
3
it's
and a
like,
1, yeah.
You can have that one. I'll fight you on all the others.
Yeah.
Because it's only worth 1 to me.
Yep.
I don't gain anything. I would hurt you, but like, and then it's like, well, I know where I could hurt you. And so, but like, just the setup of that is going to be fun and cute. They had and especially the distribution of the different defense values is going to look different about.
Yep. The other thing I very much enjoyed about the spatial part of the game being this way with the lanes, I loved the concept of being able to move the units from one lane to another lane.
Yeah.
I think that was very well done.
Yeah, you just move them adjacent.
But it's cool though.
But you get into the force.
The letters,
mixing,
the
right?
A's have to be
That's
with A's.
Cool.
B's have to be with B's. So I can't move an A into a B lane. But you actually use that. You controlled this 3. Once you had control of it, you're like, well, I can win the game here by moving an A into this lane and then doing the overclock.
Yeah, well,
right?
and it's like you're able to do that because you had like a scout here. You couldn't control it because the Moss guy was dead. So I'm like, cool, I can vacate most of my stuff.
And you can't lose that.
And then do that. I'm safe for a little bit.
For the most part,
time. But then that's the real power of your this guy here. He can redeploy.
Yes.
You can move a card to any lane.
It's not
very
adjacent. Powerful. Yeah.
So that's
any lane.
You just pick a guy and you dump him over here, and all of a sudden, boom! You had left this because I don't have anything over here.
100%. Yep.
So that.
But I thought
I
thought that was a very interesting addition to the system. That works very well with the spatial connection of these lanes. Like you said, one of the abilities is adjacent, but this one is anywhere. And that's very cool.
It's a way to keep what would otherwise be a linear game, map-wise, more interesting. And it does that really successfully. When you look at Undaunted, it's big geomorphic maps, and you can move around kind of anywhere. There's elements of freedom within this that you just have to play for, which is really fun.
I just think it all worked very well together. I feel like I'm gushing over the game, but I very much enjoyed what we did.
Yeah, no,
Very well done.
very slick package, very slick production.
Yep.
Really, really great artwork. They have knocked it out of the park for what they were trying to do.
Yep.
They did that. Absolutely.
So this, I pre-ordered this. It was $35. I think a very reasonable price. My guess is once this comes out, and I think it's kind of out now, you can probably look for it on things like Miniature Market, and you're probably going to pay around that 30. Normally they're 10%, kind of less. But definitely going to want to pick this one up because I think it's going to do very well.
Yeah.
It's going to appeal to a total different demographic. Once it gets spread around a little bit, the word about it, I think it's going to then grow. My guess is this is going to be into 3 and 4 printings in the next, 2 years.
And whilst it will appeal to wider demographics as well, outside of wargaming, we're wargamers, we play this and we liked it. Like, you will also like this too. Like,
100%.
If you like anything that's Undaunted-esque, this is going to be a fun time for you. It's just this nice, small, tight little sci-fi package.
Yep.
And it's even more portable than Undaunted is, which is still in those smaller boxes anyway.
Yeah.
So, really great time with Line of Fire Burnt Moon from Osprey Games. You got to check this out if you're interested, but appreciate you very much for tuning in. I've been Alexander for theplayersaid.com.
And I'm Grant.